Hey guys, welcome back to Paranormal Princess, the channel for all things ghost, paranormal and spooky. If you enjoy all things paranormal and spooky, I suggest you hit that subscribe button down below. I am here for you every Monday, giving you all the spookiness that you need in your life. I have gone all natural today, all natural. Let's speak French. I don't know if that's how you say it. This is the real me. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out. Okay, no. Anyway, this episode is about the Enfield Haunting, which is the most famous case in the UK to date, I think, I would say, in my opinion. It surrounds a family of 4. The mother, Peggy Hodgson, and her 4 children. Margaret, 11, Janice, 13, Billy and Johnny. There's not much about the 2 boys, just because all of the activity is based around the 2 girls, but mainly 11-year-old Margaret. So, Enfield, London, 1977. Peggy Hodgson, the mum, calls 999 with a report that the furniture in her house is moving of its own accord, and they're all hearing banging from inside the walls. Once the police arrive, they see the chairs moving on their own. Quote, wobble and slide, but could not determine the cause of the movement, end quote. So that's how it all started. The first thing that moved was the wardrobe, and actually there's a lot of interviews with the 2 girls talking about the incident with the wardrobe, because that was the first thing that ever happened. And it came out of its place, like it moved out, which must have been terrifying. And that's when the mum called the police, and like other things started moving, and then the knocks in the walls. The police came, they saw everything. Actually, there's an interview with a policewoman who was the one that witnessed the chair, the one that I just quoted. I will put that in here if I can find it.
More baffled when 2 of their beat constables reported seeing an armchair levitate across the Hodgsons' living room.
It came off the floor, or nearly a ½ inch, I should say, and I saw it slide off to the right, about 3.5 to 4 feet before it came to rest. I checked to see whether or not it could possibly have slid along the floor. I placed a marble on the floor to see whether or not the marble would go in the same direction as the chair did, and it didn't roll at all. I checked for wires under the cushion of the chair, and I could find no explanation at all.
It's very 1970s, isn't it? They all talk like this. There are people that talk like that now. Don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the case then went on to be investigated by Maurice Gross. He worked for the Society of it's really hard to say. Society of Psychical Research in London, which is still going, and I really want a job there. Like, I would love a job there, so I might actually look into that. When things started to get worse, it went on to be investigated by the famous husband and wife Ed and Lorraine Warren, who they determined that all paranormal and something really scary going on in that house. So one of the reasons that this case, for me and for so many other people, I think is interesting, is because of the focus around Jannet, the little girl. Now, she was only 11 years old, and this thing would happen where she said it would come from behind her, like her neck. The voice, she would feel like the voice would come from her neck behind, but it was coming out of her mouth, and that she was being possessed, basically. There were 3 spirits, but the main one being Bill, and she would speak, but her lips wouldn't move, and it was like...
That's good. Shut up, door. I'm 72 years old. I come from Jewett Park graveyard, and I have right near the church where Rita lives. And all my friends come from there as well, and we all make a game and go to the pub, and then we thought we'd pick your house, because I used to live here. And I...
How how is she making that noise? How? I would love to know. Like, obviously, maybe she had a gift and could do that, but listening to that, it sounds like a 70-year-old man that's smoked about 200 cigarettes a day. And it's saying the most random things. I can hardly hear what it's saying, but and it says, all my friends are so weird. No. It's a really interesting case. It's one of the most famous cases, as I said before. However, ventriloquism could be a possibility. False vocal cords was also something that people discussed. Basically, like 2 sets of vocal cords, one being able to move. She could move them without moving her real ones that I'm using right now. So she had a gift for that. The girls were also known to play tricks with Maurice, the paranormal investigator, and actually they recorded Jannet bending spoons, messing up the kitchen, hiding the tape recorder, and also she would get a broom and bang on the ceiling to make it seem like it was the ghosts, but obviously it was her. I've watched interviews with these girls and I'm not gonna judge, like, obviously everyone has their opinion, but I'm on the fence. I'm gonna say I don't know, because when I was watching an interview with them that they did because it was The Conjuring 2 is based off of this whole paranormal experience that happened to this family. They were interviewed for the film, basically, and they looked really affected by what had happened. I don't know, when I watched the video, I just felt really sorry for them. No matter what happened, I felt sorry for them, because at the end of the day, they were children. Margaret was 11, Jannet was 13. They're babies, like they're children. It mustn't have been normal for them to have the amount of widespread coverage that it had. You only have to type in Enfield Haunting and just like pages and pages and pages and pages come up of exactly what happened in that house. And whatever happened, whether it was real or fake, has made such an impact on these women now. I find this one really fascinating because I just feel like, why would the mum, forget the press and forget all that side of it first, right? The first thing that happened was the wardrobe came out of the wall. Things started moving and there was banging in the walls, right? That was the first, for my research anyway, that was the first thing that happened. And that's what they've said on camera, right? Why would the mum call the police to say something so absurdly crazy unless it was happening and she had no idea of what to do? Why would she do that? And then why would the police come on camera to the news and say, do you know what, this is what I saw, this is what happened, I tried to figure it out and I couldn't, it was unexplainable. So that first bit, I believe happened. I believe that happened, and I believe there was something in that house. But I think probably, from my opinion, what happened was it probably went too far. The girls probably felt like, especially Jannet, felt like they had to perform, or it was her really with the voice, no one else had the voice. She had to perform for the cameras and perform for these people that were coming around to see their house. That experience must have been really lonely. If you know, I believe the first thing happened, the voice, maybe it happened once or twice, but once she'd got attention, like the media attention, it didn't happen anymore, and maybe she needed to look like she wasn't lying and to look like the family weren't lying, just fake it, but it really happened. There's so many things that could have happened in that house, and if I could go back in time and just watch, I wish because I guess we're never going to know the truth. The interesting thing that Jannet said, the older Jannet, when she was interviewed for Conjuring 2 about Ed and Lorraine Warren. When Ed and Lorraine Warren came to the house, it felt like some sort of comfort had arrived for the first time, in the respect that they came to try and help us, and it didn't feel like that with anyone else visiting. They just seemed to visit to see what was going on and to witness something that was happening. But Ed and Lorraine, you felt warm and comforted, that they were there to try and find out what it was and how they could help. And when she was saying this, I could tell that she really loved Ed and Lorraine. She really felt that warmth. You also have to take into consideration, obviously, I've said this loads of times, but she's an 11-year-old girl. All these people coming around to see the freak show, right? But Ed and Lorraine, as she said, wanted to help. You also have to remember with this family, the father left. That's all I know from my research, but the father had left them, basically. And it was the mum and the 4 kids in Enfield trying to get by. And they obviously weren't the richest of families. The kids, I mean, you're not going to be happy if your dad runs out on you, are you? Also, there is, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'm going to do an episode on it. There is a name. Teenagers can create poltergeist activity, angst, emotions. Matilda, but like extreme Matilda stuff, where you don't know you're doing it, you can't control it, but like the emotion and the energy is so extreme that it will move things and it will, you know, stuff like that. So maybe it was that. Whether it was real or not, something was going on there. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below what you think of this story. Also, this is my cauldron. Now I have a cauldron. And on the top, it's got Indian summer wax melts and it just smells incredible. I can kind of do it. But hers was like, it was more. I hope you have a really nice day and I'll see you next week. Bye!